It was the day after Thanksgiving, November 28, 1969. A Friday that should have been filled with the quiet hum of holiday leftovers and the gentle rustle of turning pages. Instead, the Patty Library at Penn State University became the silent, chilling stage for a crime that would haunt the campus for generations. In the dimly lit labyrinthine stacks, a 22-year-old graduate student named Betsy Aardsma was preparing for her future, completely unaware that she was walking into a mystery that would become one of Pennsylvania's most enduring and perplexing cold cases. Her death was swift, silent, and precise. A single fatal stab wound to the heart, leaving behind a scene so confusing that the initial witnesses thought it was a medical emergency, not a murder. This is the story of the murder in the stacks, a brutal act of violence in the most unlikely of places, and the killer who to this day got away. Before we dive deeper into the suspects and the enduring mystery of this case, take a quick moment to remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of the Calendar of Crime. Also, we're coming soon to Substack. Betsy Aardsma was a bright, promising English graduate student from Holland, Michigan. She was described as kind, intelligent, and full of life. On that fateful afternoon, she was in the library stacks, a place of quiet study, looking for a book on German art. The fifth level of the stacks was a secluded area, perfect for focused research, but also dangerously isolated. Around 4:45 p.m., a commotion was heard. Two young men, possibly students, rushed to the circulation desk, reporting that a girl had collapsed in the stacks and needed help. They claimed she was having a seizure or had fainted. The library staff, believing it to be a simple medical emergency, were slow to react, and by the time they reached the scene, Betsy was found slumped between the narrow aisles, her body partially concealed by a cascade of fallen books. The initial confusion was compounded by the nature of the wound. Betsy was wearing a red dress, and the single stab wound, inflicted from the back, was so clean and precise that there was very little external blood. The wound was located in her back, near her heart, and the blood was absorbed by her clothing and the carpet. It was only when a doctor arrived and examined her that the truth became horrifyingly clear. This was not an accident or a medical event. It was murder. The lack of a struggle, the absence of defensive wounds, and the surgical precision of the attack suggested a killer who was either incredibly bold, highly skilled, or intimately familiar with the victim's movements. The weapon, likely a small, sharp knife, was never found. The investigation that followed was hampered by the initial misidentification of the crime and the sheer number of people who had been in the library that day. Police interviewed hundreds of people, but the leads quickly dried up. Over the decades, the case went cold, but the mystery never faded. The primary person of interest who emerged years later was Richard Hefner, a geologist and former Penn State student who was known to be in the library that day. Hefner, who died in 2002, was a troubled individual with a history of violence and was later connected to other crimes. Two books, Who Killed Betsy and Murder in the Stacks, heavily focused on him as the likely killer, suggesting a man who had a history of rage and a connection to the area. Despite the compelling circumstantial evidence against Hefner, he was never formally charged, and the case remains officially unsolved. The motive for the murder is still a terrifying blank space. Was it a random act of violence? A targeted attack by someone she knew? Or a crime of opportunity by a predator? The only hope for a definitive answer lies in modern forensic science. In the 2010s, investigators revealed they were examining the red dress Betsy was wearing for DNA evidence. The possibility that a single strand of hair, a microscopic skin cell, or a trace of fluid could finally name the killer 50 years later keeps the case file open and the memory of Betsy Aardsma alive. The question remains, will justice ever be found for the girl who died in the quiet heart of the university library? Thanks for watching. Please comment, share, like, and subscribe for future episodes from the Calendar of Crime.